and the owner of From and how to crochet an axolotyl. So, um, just to give you a little bit of a background, I am from California. I moved to Indiana now going 3 years now, and I love it here. I'm not a fan of the mosquitoes or the snow, but it's beautiful here in the autumn, and everybody's really lovely here. They're real nice, and I love it a lot. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll do blue. So I am able to get this Chanel yarn, just Chanel Premier from the Dollar Tree, even though it's $1.25 now. And I just slip this off. And sometimes the outside comes through. This actually happens to be the middle, but the other interior part, as you can see, it's sliding through. So I'm actually just going to pull that out. And there we go. So now I've got my outside and I just wind it through. Now I'm going to make a blue chicken so that way it's more helpful for you guys to see. Let me go ahead and get this done. So, and stuff, and started doing the markets this year again, and almost up to that $400 marker so I can turn it into like a legit business. I'm super excited. I make a lot of different things. I make everything and anything. So this actually is just a hobby of mine that seems to be a popular favorite for a lot of people. And so just to kind of give you an idea, like I just kind of make things up as I go. I see a picture, I think it looks cute. My mind already turns it into shapes and then I just make it. Sorry, I'm saying a lot of ums. I just wanted to kind of give you a peep of what I'm doing on the side that I will be showing when it's complete here, as well as it will be for sale in my market when it is. And I thought, so I love dragons. That's my spirit animal. And so I decided I wanted to, make a jacket. The Rock, they had, or no, Jack Black and Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa crochets. And so he made him that sweater. So my son wants that sweater. So I am currently working on that and it's partly done. But I am making a black and gold dragon scaled, it's an alligator stitch, but it's a dragon scale jacket. So I'm really excited about how this is going to turn out. And I love it because it glitters and it shimmers. How pretty is that? I've got the whole idea worked out in my head, so that's how that'll be. And here's my son.
Mom, I can't even chat. It won't give me the option.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So, okay. So, so I'm making it just off the top of my head. I don't follow a lot of patterns. I do follow, there are a couple of patterns that a couple of designers I do follow, which is Natalie Ellen from, she's also known as the Twisted Hatter, and then another young lady that does Serendipity Designs. And so far, their designs, their patterns have been extremely easy for me to read and follow. I did get a pattern from another designer, and I'm not going to say their name, but in order for me to even get the end result, I ended up having to make like 80 to 90% changes on the pattern just for it to make it look like a wonderful job. I do a lot of freehand stuff. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Hopefully you can comment on this, but if not, then please feel free to reach out to me at a different time. You can, and it's because my phone broke and I I haven't re-downloaded the app. So I have two of my friends, um, my brother and sister, like screaming at me to upload it again, but it just wastes a lot of time for me. So let's get started. So I have the blue chenille, the blue, it's light blue, just chenille yarn, and it's really easy to work my booth at the farmers market that your imagination is the limit. And if you know how to do a chain, a slip stitch, a single crochet, half double crochet, even if you know a treble crochet, like you can do anything. So there's a couple of specialty stitches though that I will be using for the axolotyl, and that's going to be, I believe it's a bobble stitch or a popcorn stitch. Those are two different types of stitches. Um, but my popcorn stitch isn't like how some other people do it. So it's, you know, I've seen things done a whole bunch of different ways, but this is just the way that works for me. So the main thing I keep hearing is people having issues with a magic circle. I typically use magic circles on my regular red heart yarn, wool yarn, acrylic yarn, regular yarn, not chenille. So this kind of yarn, it can get really tough to pull because sometimes it starts to fall apart, and when you tug you can break it, and it's really frustrating. I've been there, done that, and I know if you've been crocheting for a long time and you have worked with this yarn, then you've to hell with it because um, she couldn't get the magic circle down, the magic ring, magic circle. Excuse me. And so I wanted to make sure that if you're having trouble with that, you can do this with regular yarn too, as well as chenille yarn. I just know that when working with chenille yarn, specifically with working with velvet yarn, working with the Bernat blanket yarn, what I find helpful is a slip stitch and chain two, and then you single crochet into that first stitch. Now I do want to tell you with crochet, there are, if you love patterns like systemic, so I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch. Now I don't know how far along or advanced you are, if you're a beginner or if you're advanced. If you are, I would like to recommend you to look up here on YouTube on how to do a slip stitch and how to do these other stitches. I'm just starting on here, so I'm not as professional as a lot of these other video makers, so I do apologize. But slip stitch, I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and that creates my first chain. I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and there is my second chain. And then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to yarn over because I'm only working with single crochets. And a lot of people know this is amigurumi. And everything that I do is truly, when you look at a lot of pieces, if you ever look my stuff up, if you ever look up plushies from other designers, you will find that a majority of them, depending on how intricate they are truly just balls, cones, and cylinders. And a lot of them are usually like folded together and sewn up together. I'm going to show you the easiest way possible. So slip stitch 6 times into the first chain, which is what I'm doing now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I use the knife technique, I guess it's called. So then so you see that that's going to be the right side. That's the ugly side. The little tail sticks out. And don't worry about that because it's going to be hidden once your product is finished, your product or your project. And then you're going to continue to crochet all around. So, but what you're going to do is you're going to single crochet increase in all 6 stitches. So you're going to go through, stab through both the top loops here, if I can find it. Here we go. So the first crochet, I'm sorry I don't typically use stitch markers because I can feel and see for it. Please feel free to use stitch markers if you need to. Clippies, safety pins, bobby pins, a loose string of just like throwaway yarn, you know, some of your clippings, use that, whatever you have available. But you're going to do a single crochet increase on all 6 stitches, and you will end up with 12 single crochets. And I always go 3. I always count out how many increases I'm doing, and then I typically count it out because usually I'm watching a documentary or listening to an audible book on here. And I think this is 6. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to do 1 single crochet and then a single crochet increase. And I'm going to do that all around until I get to 12 stitches from, you know, the second round. And I'm wanting to go with you on this only because that way you can see it. So sorry if I'm jumping back and forth here as far as like having stuff up and down. So I just pull stuff out. I do what works for me. Please feel free to do what works for you. I have so many different tools to help me. I just try to do stuff, and I'll show you that here in the end, when you have your extra left over. Okay, so I work kind of fast. If you don't worry about it. Go at your own pace. Everybody goes. There is one thing I'm going to tell you. It's really important for a lot of crocheters is tension means everything. Now, I taught my beautiful husband how to crochet. We started off with a continuous granny square blanket, but he crochets and he pulls it so tight that the metal part like squeaks when you're trying to like stab it through and pull it out and all that stuff, and it really like takes a lot of like arm work for that. I don't recommend you continuously crochet like that. It does start to hurt your wrists, it does start to hurt your hands, and it makes it really hard for you to finish your projects. So I don't recommend that. You don't want it super loose either, because if you do it too loose, then you can have stuff fall through. You can see the stuffing, even if you don't overpack it with stuffing. So now we're at round 3, which is 1 single crochet and a single crochet increase. And we're at 12. But this is something that I do. I don't know if other crocheters do this, other crochet people, ladies and gentlemen, but there's usually 1 crochet and then the increase that's right next to it. So I still do the 1 crochet and then a single crochet increase. So I typically work like 7 of those in the 3rd round. And then I can feel for stuff. So now we're going to do 2 single crochet and a single crochet increase. So you're going to go 1 increase, 2 increase, 3 increase, 4 increase, 5 increase. For the little again, can I do that? Yes. Do I do that? No. It's not popular where I'm at, and other crochet ladies do that, and they tend to use the bigger, thicker yarn, which is totally fine. But I don't want to, like, we all come with something different in our own imaginations, and people tend to like these a lot more. I've seen more people buy these, and I sell them out pretty quickly. And it's super cute. I have a lot of chicken farmers that get these and like put them with their eggs. So it's super cute. It's really easy, and maybe you and then I sew in this little beak, and then these are just, it's a slip stitch and chaining into like the first 3 chains or the first 3 stitches here on the top, and then you're just pulling stuff through. So as we get into that, it'll work better for you, I'm sure. So let's see. Oops, I did it too much. 2 and an increase. 1, 2, increase. Sorry if my phone's going off. My church family is sending text messages. So I hope some of you that have reached out to me during markets or at church that have questions about this, I hope you guys find this video and I hope it's really helpful for you. I will see here. Almost done with this round. I don't go really fast. I go like a medium pace. It's fast for some. Okay. So now I'm on to the next round. 3 single crochet and an increase. Sorry, I'm gonna get some of my fizzy water here. I wanted fizzy water. I'm not a big soda drinker, but and I didn't want the mineral water either. Crochet ladies on these YouTube videos that I've watched before, like to make a hanging plant, seems to be doing quite popular. I'll watch video tutorials for patterns, but to buy patterns, it's not really my jam because, like I said, I have a really hard time trying to read what people have written, and the really horrible one that I got via AI was just, it was a hot mess. And so like there are some things on there and previous videos that I have posted when I did these dolls, like you have to sew in wafts of hair, and if you've never done that before, there aren't any video tutorials to do that. So when I get to that point, I'll jump on live again and I'll show you guys how to do a doll hair. So here I am. I'm at my next round, and you can see 1 double 1 2 3. So here we go. You've got the middle here. That's your first 6. Then your increase. Then your 1 and an increase, 2 and an increase, and 3 and an increase. And you can see, where is it at? Where the changing happens. So you can see how it starts to twist and then go round. So when you get to the desired size, so you can make this as big as you want. So if you want to make this, you're done with how big you want it, which this is how big I want it. Excuse me. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be like this, but I promise you it will be. Because it starts to expand when you stuff it. So what I'm doing now is I am just single crocheting all the way around. All the way around. And any kind of comments? Probably not, because this is my first time, but I usually go up 12 more rows. So initially when we started, it was 2 double 1 2 3. When we started, it was 2 double 1 2 3, or like 7 more rows to it, because I want a total of 12 rounds, rows, rounds, tomatoes, half we're going to start sewing or crocheting a single crochet across the top, and then we're going to stuff it before we get to the end. And we're also going to add eyes. And there is a little trick to the eyes that I learned off other crochet, I want to say crochet lady that I saw on Instagram, where she lit the back post. And unless you take scissors to the actual toy plushie, even the chickens, you have to take scissors to them to get the eyes out. So if you have pets or small children and you're worried about them pulling the eyes through the stitch itself, it won't happen unless you completely obliterate the toy. So that's a good thing. The other thing about crochet that I love is that there's a simplistic joy that it brings when other people are touching and feeling this, because Chanel's really soft, and I like when people are, they want to touch things, they want to feel things, and so when they come onto something soft, it's like their eyes kind of soften up themselves, and then you just see a smile. Sometimes there's too many options of cute things at my booth. For anybody that's selling in the markets, one thing that I have learned as a salesman over the last 20 years, saleswoman, is that you have to have different priced items for everybody to buy. And with crochet, I offer a variety of different things. So I make sure that things are sometimes as low as $3, and then it goes all the way up to, I think my highest right now is $95. It's a huge elephant. Maybe I priced it at 100. I don't know. No one's bought it yet. But the purpose and point of that is to be able to let people have something crocheted. It's a keepsake ordeal. It's handmade. It's durable. You can't find it at a box store. No matter if you see a lot of these faux crochet clothings or items, that I am seeing a lot of other crochet ladies that love to go shopping. I'm not sure if they're shopping for regular things at Target or Walmart, or if they are, or Marshalls, or if they're actually going to buy more, but it's not actual crochet. It's made with some type of a sewing machine, so it's not the same thing. It's not the same durability. Is having a blast making it. Their creative juices are going. I know Bro Crochet, I've seen on TikTok and Instagram. Not only is he funny and comes with really fun storylines, but I'm sure he's thinking of new weapons that would be so cool to use, which is great because then we start going, well, hey, we can make those. And if you have a little boy like I do, well, he likes a lot of things you can't get at the box store. So, Huggy Wuggy, uh, Freddy Fazbear, Five Nights of Freddy, um, Minecraft. I know a lot of you guys have been looking for the pattern for the creeper, I think it is, the green dude. Excuse me. And yeah, I didn't have a pattern for him. I just I looked at what he looked like, raised an eyebrow like I have now, and was like, okay, and made it for my nephew. That was his Christmas present from his mom. And uh, that's the other cool thing about crochet, uh, it kind of reminds me of like the 80s movie Sweet 16. People want to pretend like they're making breakfast and just open up a box of donuts. Yeah, so if you crochet and you don't have time to make it, keep in mind that other crochet women that crochet similar to you, that are at pop-up markets or have already completed projects, instead of going, hey, I can make that, because we all know you can. The beautiful part about a lot of us, I totally made this for you. No one's gonna know. And if they do, then who cares, honestly. I have had people come up and say, oh, your aunt can make this or your grandma can make this, or so offended by it. Yes, Susie, Johnson, Todd, Kyle, whoever can make it, crochet it. But the beautiful part about my stand is it's already made, it's already ready to go. You don't have to buy the material. And then, so then that way they can just make it for you for free. And then one day you'll get it. It's already here. So that's the beautiful part about other crochet women that have booths up that maybe they have a carrot or something cute. Okay, so we're almost there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rounds. I'm on my last one. I just see a lot of when it comes to that. If you've ever been in sales, truly been in sales, you've been rejected, positivity person. I have been in sales. I've been rejected plenty of times, and being told no is truly just one step closer to those prices and won't bat an eyelash. And so you really need to observe and take into account what markets you're entering, what the trends are, what they specifically like to have. I went to a catfish festival. I didn't do too bad over there. Um, I made, I don't remember. I have to look up my books, but I made a good amount. Maybe, I think like maybe almost a couple $100. And whatchamacallit, a lot of it was in cash. And it wasn't too much, and I wasn't disappointed because I learned a lot. It was a 2-day event. It was my first 2-day event ever, and it was rough because it was hot, really hot. And what I noticed is a lot of people like to buy a lot of little things. So a lot of little chickens, a lot of little bees. The bees, I could have made a hive and they still would have flown off my shelves. No pun intended. Okay, so now I've reached the 12, okay? And now what I'm going to do in the very next stitch, I'm going to slip. I'm going to put my hook through. Then I'm going to move this over and I'm going to go the one that has a slip stitch, the stitch before that, I'm going to slide my hook through there. Okay? Do we see that? So we're going to start folding it. And then I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and continue my single crochets almost about 3/4 of the way. So 1, and I'm going through both sides because we're folding it in half. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I just want to kind of pull this out a little bit. Give me some wiggle room here. So let me get to my cheetah bag. That's my travel bag where I keep all the eyes at when I'm going to shows or whatever, markets. I have tons of eyes. So, but I fly through them pretty quickly. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to use regular black eyes. And these are I believe these are 12mm eyes. And see how it has the little back post there? So I'm going to get that, and then let me get the the secured washer in the back to secure it. Okay, I have both of them. And these are what the secure little washers look like. Now, for those of you that are just starting, I would like to tell you that the cup side where it concaves in, that goes to the post side, not backwards. I used to do it backwards thinking it would hold it in, and it defeats the purpose because where it sees, it's actually sticking to the yarn, and it makes it really hard to pull out because it's actually clasping to the yarn. So if you've done it the other way, I mean, do what works for you, but the best way, the right way, is to do it that way. And if nobody ever taught you that, well, then let me be the first to teach you. Okay, and I dropped that on. Okay. So from the top, not the crochet top, from the top here, I usually go 2 rows down. So in between the second and the third row, one round, 2 round. I say rows, but I mean rounds. Like I said, tomatoes, tomatoes. And usually you can push that through, and then you can see where the post sticks out. And that just kind of helps me gauge where to put the other eye. And so I'll slip that out, and where it was is where I'll put the other eye. And if you flatten it out like this, you can see that the eyes are on either side of each other. And this is what it looks on the inside, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and add the little washer. Boom, and it's right there, okay? And then I'm gonna add the other one and show you. Okay, so here, okay, this part right here is grabbing and securing that yarn to the back of the flat part of that. So you can't tug it out, okay? But just to make sure, because I'm a mom and, you know, I had a kid. He's 9 now, obviously, you guys, and I want to make sure that I'm being as safe as possible. And so I wanted to make sure that the toys that I was making him wasn't going to hurt him. And of course I can't find my lighter, but I know where another one is. Let me grab it. So this is my cheetah bag. I go with this thing everywhere. It is full of yarn. Okay, I have a few things in here that I need. Cool. So just regular Bic lighter. And I know this seems really dangerous. My husband had raised an eyebrow, but it works and nothing has happened to me yet. So, and it doesn't reach over 120 degrees once it hits the air. So what I'm doing is I'm holding it sideways. Make sure you're not in the wind. Because what happens is if you heat this side, it doesn't singe. Will it light on fire? Absolutely. But what we're doing is we're lighting the post here. And then that'll catch on fire. 1, 2, 3. Blow it out and then smush it down. And then I usually wiggle it and then boom, now it's flat. See how that flattens out? It's no longer this, it's now smushed down. And that people can't like uncork it to take it off. Like I said, you literally have to cut the toy plushie to get it off. And I do this with all of my plushies. It's just becomes something that I do. So 1, 2, 3. If it's a bigger eye, I usually count to 5 because I'm trying to soften up all that plastic and smush it down. Okay, done with that. Now, I use polyfill fiber. I have a huge bag next to me right here, so I'm just going to pull from it. So I don't do a whole lot of sewing yet. And through that hole, I'm just going to stuff it in there. Now, here's a trick with the polyfill fiber. I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, but if they haven't, let me be the first to tell you. So polyfill fiber, when you buy it in a bag, when you buy it at the store, it's already been pre-sealed. And so it'll be chunky like this. If you want to keep the shapes that you want, like if you're doing a doll and you want the doll head to keep that circular shape or square shape, any type of shape. So not only are you not trying to overstuff it, but you want to pull the polyfill fiber flattens it out. You're just trying to fluff it up, and when you fluff it up, and it starts to fluff this up. Now, I like to make these chickies in all kinds of different colors. I make cats, dogs, duckies. A lot of these go out as gifts, popular. So I, did a bunch of test runs to see what was going on, and so far it's gaining momentum. So that's really helpful for my family. Although I just graduated, and I'll be getting a job in remote work, or if not, I'll be picking up a graveyard shift. So when my husband gets off work, then I'll go to work, and because we homeschool. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to smush that, and I'm going to continue crocheting a single crochet along the top until I finish it out. And your eyes are just below enough where you shouldn't have any issues getting around them. Although I say that and then it doesn't look that way. Let me see. So, okay. So now this is what your chicken looks like. Use any color you want, but this is the one that I'm using. Okay. And then I grab my infamous cheetah bag because that's where I have my red. And this is some red velvet yarn that I picked up, and it's wonderful and I love it. All right. So this is what I do. I made this into a cake. Do I have one of those winding machines? Yes, I do. Do I have the patience to use it all the time? No, I don't. I learned from another crochet lady on Instagram that there is a way to do it using your fingers and a figure eight, and I'll show you how to do that here. So what I do is I crochet this way from right to left. Now, if you're a lefty, you go left to right. Okay, so I flip the chicken over and I go through that last stitch that I finished. I made a slip knot. It just makes it easier to hold without it like slipping through. So there you go. And then 2, 3 chains, 4 chains, 5 chains. And then I slip stitch back through that same chain or that same stitch, and I slip stitch, okay? And then I slip stitch into the next stitch. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then slip stitch over again. 3 stitches, 5 chains, slip stitching through. So, and then 1, 2, and like the last 3 years, I'm not really big on digital products, and I do like a lot of handmade stuff. I just wanted to give it a test run, and I think it's just time to. I do sell on Facebook Marketplace, but that's neither here nor there because I get really busy with other things. I really multitask a lot. So then I'm going to go ahead and cut that, put my yarn to the side, and I'm just going to pull through. You're going to have a lot of these danglies. Never fear, we will get rid of them. And my little pin thing, I picked this up at Hobby Lobby for $1.99. It's got a bunch of pins. Then I also have my tapestry needles. And my tapestry needles, I purchased them on Amazon. I was able to get like 20 of them for like $2 or something like that. Anyways, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to usually use my blue one first. Okay, the chicken is coming together. So what I do is I go through, I don't know if you can see that, and then I just pull them through, kind of snug. And you can see like the little tail tends to perk up. And then what I like to do is I like up and then down, back through another stitch somewhere, and then go the next stitch up, and then I'll go up again, and then come back down one stitch. Now I do the up down on one row to the next row because you can't tell, it hides it. Now if you pull really super tight, now this isn't tight, okay, but if I pull it tight, see how that works? Yeah, backs. But now I buy the big boxes because I'm making a whole bunch. And then I just stuff it in there, and then boom. Now you can use this with this, but what I find is that it makes it really hard, and you tend to get, I used to get really frustrated that I had done a slip stitch through, and then I just poke it out from the bottom of one of the rounds. And I make sure it's an actual stitch and not part of the in between the V, because it'll make it harder when you're trying to stuff it back in. And again, the same with this little guy. So I go through the top, and then I just come out through one of the actual rounds towards the bottom, and I just pull it through. And now it looks like my chicken is bleeding, but he's not bleeding. That's just from his little things. Now, if you're all for Easter, go ahead and do that. I would recommend, if of all the Chanel little fringes getting everywhere. Okay, so now our chicken's done. I don't have my orange readily available, but that's okay because I have a Chanel one that looks like a burnt orange. And I believe this is it. And I'm going to be using the end pieces. I'm making another project. I'm doing a cat. A chunky cat is what I call it. So just thread it through there. And then I like to go right in between the eyes. So it looks like it's, again, between the second and the third, round from the bottom. And I usually leave one stitch on either side of the eye, okay? And then I sew back and forth into the same stitch, pull a little, and I do this like 5 times, and you'll see. If you ever mess up, you can always just take it back out. It's called frogging. You don't like to do that because it takes time, especially if you're on a crunch time for a market. But see how that looks? I know it doesn't look like super, super fabulous right now, but we're going to make them look super fabulous right now. So I'm just going to tie a knot on the side. I tied a knot on the side, okay? And I'm just going to get my scissors. And I like to snip it like right around the same length as that. It makes it easier when you're sewing things in. And then I usually put both threads on the needle, just like that. I got them both on. And then right where I was sewing him the little beak in and out, I just take that, go right back through it, and then I pull it through. And the reason I do it close to the mouth is because that way, and you can tug a little tight on there and then take the little phrase off. But the reason I do that is because if you, what I've come to notice, if I bring the strings back here and then I tie the knot here, what ends up happening is those strings you can move them a lot. Like you can get, because they're slack from there to there. Um, and like I said, do what you want. These are things that I've noticed. But if I tie it right to the mouth and then thread it in through back and through here, pull it out another round, there's no slack in between these threads, so they won't come loose. Like they're there. They'll give a little bit of wiggle, but there won't be one that will pull all the way out this way. Um, I don't know if some of you guys have done this whenever you come across it. And then I just stuff it back in and I take a little bit of the fray off. But there you go. There's your little chicken. It's a cute little blue chicken with black eyes. I tend to sell these for $5 because the kids have a lot of fun with them. These usually don't take me 54 minutes to do, but because I'm demonstrating and I know I went a little bit fast for whoever watches this, pause it, take your time, and it's okay if you don't catch this. But you can bend it so it's got a little bit of a back to it. It's fine. You can shape it however you want. If it's a stress thing, you can totally do that. You can slap a keychain on it, put it on your purse, and have your little chicken buddy with you. Um, you know, if your dog doesn't shred things and it just wants a baby, I mean, yeah, you can have it for a dog toy. You can even add a dog squeaker to it while you're stuffing it. So there's so many things that you can do with this. I wouldn't recommend this for a dog toy just because if they like to tear things apart, this is a really kind of light thread. It's not really thick. Um, so it can easily be broken. Like it doesn't take that much to like really like if you really really wanted to. um so I don't recommend this for dogs if they like to chew or they like to shred things apart. This could be a fun cat toy, unless they shred things, so then no. But yeah, I mean, you can have it at school, you can hang it, put a keychain, use it as a little backpack charm, a little purse charm. You can just have it with you. Maybe set it with, if you're an egg farmer, you have your chicken coops and you collect your eggs or your duck eggs or whatever. You can set this in with the eggs and do your little collecting. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you guys make this if you do and it was really easy for you to follow. Feel free to drop a comment. I'll be making some more of these. Feel free to subscribe if you want. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help. Thank you.